Well, at this rate, today is going to be a long day with some hours in the dark, I think. This was a convenient camp, but a surprisingly loud one. Not only the birds and everything, that's usual, but about 2 o'clock in the morning, there was just all this noise going on, and then I could hear the squealing. I guess there was a pack of hogs that was around. And then before dark, and since the sun has come up, there seems to be a large amount of, let's call it small D energy vehicles and revving based around that lodge I went through yesterday. And I can hear it echoing all the way up here. See, if Jen is sensitive to like campfires and things, vehicle noise is one of those things that just kills me. I love doing these videos. I love having these videos to look back on. I love all the comments from people about how it makes their life, that little bit brighter. The fact that it gives us a little bit of cost offset is part of what makes us just barely be able to eke out this existence. But I think in the last couple of years, as I've gotten more sophisticated in how I do them, I've started to be in denial as far as just how much time they take me every morning, because it is just killing me here. I mean, yesterday I was up at like 5 a.m. working for hours and hours before I took off. And like today, I blew my first alarm because I was exhausted because I didn't sleep well because of the hogs. And yeah, I'm going to be struggling to get out of here by 10, I think. As expected, late start, not quite caught up on video edits, but hey, it doesn't really matter how far I make it each day, other than, I've got 3 dinners, so I kind of need to make reasonable mileage to get to my resupply. But trail tempo is a real thing. I get moving, and I just feel better if I get more miles every day. The engine revving has been driving me nuts to the point where I actually did my morning edits using my noise canceling earbuds, which are the greatest invention in the history of mankind. Entertainingly enough, I was a double major in college. Computer science was one, and then the other was history with a focus on ancient civilizations, because, those really go together and all. And the original version of the Noah's Ark flood myth is about Gilgamesh and Utnapishtim. And the reason for the flood was the gods were tired of humanity making so much noise that it was bothering their sleep. So they decided to wipe them out, which I just find entertaining because, nothing changes. The other thing that really stuck with me was the earliest writing we had, at least at the time, was a king lamenting the low morals of the younger generation and their dancing. I do carry sleep earplugs. I don't generally like to use them when I'm camping alone, just kind of, situational awareness. If there is something getting into my stuff, I want to potentially know and wake up. But if I'm really close to like a highway or something, I will. Though honestly, like the dull roar of trucks will bother me a lot less than what was going on back there. The pile of trash was kind of unfortunate. You never know what's going on with stuff like that. Could have been some weekender. There's also, when you're dealing with those of us who choose to run away from civilization for extended periods of times, there is some overlap with folks that aren't always quite well. I have run into some disturbed individuals, ranting. There's stories every year or two from trail about that. Look at the machete mermaid or the hammer guy from 21. Occasionally it gets really bad. See that sovereign killing in 2020, I think it was. So sometimes people just aren't well and don't have the faculties to, be considerate and clean up the trash. Sometimes it's people that just don't care. There I did see some additional trash I couldn't get to, which looked like it was flung down the hillside. Who knows? Hey, speaking of which, more water bottles. Today looks like it's going to be big climb, couple of 1,000 feet, get up on the top of some mountain range. No real goal for the end of the day. Again, as with yesterday, water is becoming a little more sparse out here, so I am having to keep a little better eye on that and carry a little more. At least so far, I haven't seen anything that is really setting off alarm bells. And whoever is leaving comments ahead of me, their judgment as far as what constitutes, barely flowing / unusable water sources is not matching with mine. So hopefully I'll be okay. And hey, I have been fully appreciating just how nice the weather has been here. Had a little bit of rain on the long trail. Had a kind of a rough couple of days at one point, but this has just been pristine hiking. If anything, I just wish I didn't have my colder weather gear with me, because I was prepping for things to get cold. Watch, it's going to be Indian summer right to the end of November when I fly out, and I'll have carried a few extra pounds for nothing. Oh, that sounds fun. Not sure what those guys back there were hunting, but they had caged dogs with them. Just ran into a northbounder named Zappa, who also had a Jelly Gear shirt on. He had the old orange one. So we were comparing notes. I asked him about the bees, because I've seen all these little holes in the ground and people keep getting stung around me. He said he just got stung about a mile ahead, but there should be a sign. He also said the brush wasn't bad. It was probably worse from Reliance down into Georgia, which is after my next resupply, so future me problems. Beyond that, he said he'd seen a good amount of hunters and that the water got a bit sparse. He also said he'd seen maybe 7 sobos and 0 nobos. So we're just all moving in sync, as usual. Somebody's damn hunting dog came out of nowhere and just will not get off of my heels. Go! That dog wasn't being aggressive or anything, but just would not get out from underfoot. And I used to not be quite as hostile towards random dogs. And then I've had my gear pissed on by dogs that people assured me were fine. I've had near bites when they suddenly went aggressive out of nowhere. People in general just have horrendous blind spots when it comes to their dog in particular. So of course, their dog doesn't need a leash. Their dog's fine. Why am I being unreasonable and being hostile towards their dog? Hey. Okay, that's what Zappa was talking about. The question is, what is around? Crap. Well, I guess I chose correctly. It is always such a crapshoot. When I was stung in Monson, a group right behind me, nothing. And same here. Keep getting warned and nothing. And Zap had avoided it till here, and then they came out of nowhere. Well, at this rate, today is going to be a long day with some hours in the dark, I think. Next water, there may be a little trickle up ahead, but there's a pond in a little over 10 miles, and I think I need to make that. Good news is all the majority of the gain is this bit. Well, hell, there's a trickle at the trail and word of a spring up here. Didn't have any beta, bushwhacked straight up, and it's all mud puddles. This might get problematic since the next confirmed water is 10 miles away, and I have been working hard here. I grabbed some water down at the bottom of the climb just to be safe. Even there, I would have carried more despite the big climb, but it was hard to collect. It was just these pools I had to dip into, and you do that too much, you end up just pulling dirt. I really wouldn't mind having an extra liter or two right about now, though, because if I have to traverse this entire ridge to get to that pond, that's going to be rough. There are a few sources along the way, but nothing that has any beta that says water, so I'm basically hoping that there was another one of those people that, for whatever reason, missed that there was water flowing. Damn it. Okay, ran into some weekender folks up there that claim there's a pipe down here that has collectible flow. We shall see. Oh, that is a happy sight. I was thinking this was about to get interesting. Okay, well, I am glad I ran into those guys. So it sounded like those guys were locals. The comment on that water source from just a couple of days ago was there was no water whatsoever and it was bushwhacky down there. I'm guessing the guy just missed it because that was a little further past the actual icon. But even without that pipe, that was collectible and well needed right at the moment. This is kind of a dry section. So I drank about 2.5 liters. I am feeling a lot better after that. I am carrying about 1.5 liters. It's early enough. My plan is to still try and push on to that pond. Now, whether that turns into an epic or not, we'll see. So I didn't want to go too heavy. Unfortunately, that climb did take me longer than I'd hoped, so it is currently 4 p.m. and I've only done 7 miles and change or so last time I checked. It is flatter up here, but to make the next water source, I am probably going to have to push into dark. I think it's about 9 miles away still. And honestly, I just don't have that much of a buffer on this food carry to completely, sandbag it and do too small of a day today. Pretty sure I'll be okay down to Reliance, but it's not going to be like the last section where I had a significant amount of extra on me. We got interrupted and then I had to get moving, but they started to say something about bear hunters. So I'm guessing that's what the guys with the dogs were doing. Figured it was either that or hogs. Got busy up here all of a sudden. Got some day hikers and actually passed another southbounder who seemed a little odd. Or maybe it was just tired. This has been a big climb. The climb was so steep and occasionally the footing was challenging. I couldn't move that quickly, so I burned most of my daylight. At least for the moment, it's going faster. So I'm putting on the afterburners, and I'm gonna have to do something about my morning schedule to make sure I'm out of camp earlier, I guess. When I was walking through Fontana Village the other night, I did have the thought how much I missed seeing the stars. I had spent most of the last month, in the woods with only limited views of the sky. That was one of the cool things about pairing this with the long trail. I do believe I will have more views like these little balls on this trail. I also think this has to be about my halfway point as far as my little shorter eastern adventure with what remains of the season. I should have enough to do all my plans. When I was crunching numbers, looks like foothills plus the Bartum, I should be able to do both of those, and that should put me in reasonable range of Atlanta to fly out. So we'll see. I still kind of intend to stay busy as close to November 20th when I need to fly out as possible. Oh, that is pretty. I don't have a ticket back home yet since we didn't really know how things were going to go. Our normal process is, unless it's something, major like the Yukon where both of us need to come back and we have Jen's thing as or our school schedule as a drop dead date. We just buy it a couple of weeks out. Man, there are a lot of people up here. I just ran into another northbounder, so I was giving him my spiel about the sites to avoid in the Smokies due to the bear issue, and one or two that I wish I'd known not to try and book just due to crowds and weekender issues. Unfortunately, he was hauling a ton of water because he had read the same comments as me. So he was expecting no water up here. I was expecting possibly water. And so he was a little bummed that he had killed himself getting all that up here. Good news is trail between here and the water source I need for tonight is pretty cruisy. He said mix of forest roads and good trail, just beautiful. So assuming I can hold back from chatting with everybody I keep running across, maybe I'll make it not too long after dark. Good thing I like my audiobook right now. Jen makes fun of me for reading like lit RPG trash or things like Undying Mercenaries or Spellmonger, which are all, they ain't great literature, but I guess closer to like the old pulp sci-fi. But here's the thing, like I love me some, Peter Hamilton, the way he did the invasion on those like insectile aliens in those books, that was great, but God, those books dragged so damn long while I was hiking. And sometimes you just really need something to keep your mind off the whole fact that you're tired and you got to go another 7.5 miles, let's just say, for example. So when I'm rolling out here, I often have more than one book and I just kind of switch around based on my mood. Generally, I'll have something that's more like pulpy, fast-moving. And by fast-moving, I mean like The Expanse was fast-moving, but really well-written. a lot of books, especially like older sci-fi, they are not always the fastest moving. And then something a little more literary. So right now I'm listening to a Sound Booth Theater lit RPG book, and then a Neil Stevenson book, Diamond Age, which I liked. But again, I got to a point where brain hurting, tired, need something to distract me and help me hit my hiker's end. When I was camp that first night, I was chatting with the other hiker there, and he was really excited because he just found out about Red Rising. And Red Rising is one of my all-time, favorite, and one I will probably listen to again at some point. Well, there's one last book coming out, but, all the way through when I'm in a section where I really need to haul and be able to just kind of enjoy myself and keep my brain active, because they are really good. It's like, I don't know, Hunger Games crossed with Warhammer. Starts out Hunger Games, turns into like Warhammer 40K battles and genocide later. That was why I did a full re-listen to Abercrombie's First Law books a while back, which are so damn good. I had listened to them a little more spread out, and I hadn't realized quite how interconnected and just how good they are, combined with Stephen Pace and the character Glotka are one of those inspired combinations. So I am always hoping to find another kind of evergreen series. Dungeon Crawler Carl is up there also. I've re-listened to a couple of those books. Just so, okay, bad time, hating life. Well, not hating life, but just dragging and struggling to get through the day. If it gets this time of day and I'm tired, at least if I am really into my book like I am right now, I can pound out the miles a lot easier. This is why I appreciate all the nonfiction book suggestions I get, but they just don't work for me out here. The world is a sad enough place. I'd rather have sci-fi and fantasy. Thank you very much. I'm guessing that's why I see so many people with shorter haul packs and things headed for the Hanover. Seems to be a lot of people who spend a lot of time coming up here. As always, I'm kind of lacking context for a given area since I just passed through on the trail. It's been nice enough, but I mean, a good chunk of this has been roads, and at least what I saw up top was okay, but maybe I'm just biased. I'm spoiled. I spend a lot of time in the Sierra and all sorts of places, I guess. 4 more miles to go, unfortunately, and only about hours worth of daylight, if that. But oh well. Good news is I don't have enough water for the night, so I don't have much choice but to not be lazy. So the unfortunate thing is not only do I have to do 4-ish miles, but then I have to bushwhack down to a pond for water and then figure out some place to camp. And it has been rather busy out here today. There is one source along the way that has been flowing in the past, but based on what I've been seeing, I am guessing I need to hit the pond. And nobody coming the other way has mentioned anything other than the pond. So this is what I get for spending too much time editing this morning and not doing that climb faster. So I thought I got lucky. I found a seep on the top of the hill back there. And I was going to fill up and be able to stop a little earlier. However, it wasn't collectible as near as I could tell. I bushwhacked around a little bit and then it's like, okay, gotta keep moving. So I was able to make this work with a trail mix bag and scoop enough water, but the interesting thing is I thought these were fish at first, but I guess they're little like salamander newts. Taters would love them. Well, damn, I was feeling pretty good about having filled up there, but unfortunately the water has quite a bit of a tang. I've done worse more than once, but it kind of sucks, and I'm always a little bit worried, like, okay, if there's just a little bit of oil sheen and something, I don't know what it got into. It looked like that was a spring that is on the map, but I don't know. Maybe it's something with the salamanders. Maybe something had died in there. So for now, I am carrying full capacity, though I may still go to that pond. We'll just see. Okay, I made it to Wing Meadow. My plan is to drop down. I'll filter a bottle of water, make sure it tastes better, and then see about a campsite. There are a couple of marked campsites in this area. We'll see. Seems like there's been a good amount of people around here, so I may not be done for the night. Well, that's a little more promising. Once again, taters would be happy. All sorts of little salamander guys in here. Also saw some crayfish back there. Okay, well, the good news is there is a full-on pond over here, bigger water source, and it doesn't taste quite as foul. When I opened the water bottles, I could smell the sulfur, so yeah, there was just probably rotting plant matter or something in that last one. This, I took a big swig, and if it's got a taste, it's so good, it's so minor compared with the other one, I can manage it. So it is 8:45, getting a little chilly out here. I have to backtrack up to the meadow, and then there are some campsites there. This area is a little more open and accessible than I usually prefer, but at some point, beggars and choosers. If I found something I was happy with down here, I would take this. I am quite ready to be making dinner and getting to bed. Well, it's not real protected, but it's already been killed off about as badly as it's going to be, so I guess this might be me for the night. Actually, if I'm going to camp out in the open, I guess I might as well camp out on the open. It's a side I feel a little better about up on top of the bald here. Okay, I am on another dead tent platform of grass. Haven't figured out if I'm going to put the fly on yet. Going to cook dinner and see. It is a little breezy out here, but nice and clear. Just don't want it flapping half the night.